Hi viewers, welcome to YourPedia. NIC, National Informatics Center. As you people are aware that Government of India is conducting the exam on National Informatics Center for various posts, both technical and non-technical. Okay, so among the subject here, I am here to give the detailed description about the subject computer networks. Before starting that, I like to say about some previous year questions with solutions just for introduction purpose, so that you can aware about this thing. Okay, so let us go through topic by topic. So here my part is I am from computer science and engineering. In the technical session we are going to discuss about computer networks previous questions. Okay, previous year questions with some solutions. Okay, so let us go through the first question. So this is how the questions will be there in NIC. You must solve the answers. So to solve the answers, it's not only important to learn what is the question number and what is the answer and everything. It is must and should to know actually how the question they are framing, what is the description behind that one. Okay, so in computer networks, if you go through the previous questions, the first question is start and stop bits are used in serial communication for. The first question is start and stop bits are used in serial communication first. So let us go through first actually what is start and stop bit in computer network. Generally we will use bits to start and stop like zeros and ones. Actually bit means it is either 0 or 1. Why? Because in the binary format we are having only 2 digits, that is 0 and 1. In the serial communication means whenever you are making a communication, for example sender and receiver, both the systems are there. If one person wants to communicate with another person, he can communicate in any version. Among that, serial communication is one type of communication. Okay, serial communication, parallel communication, different types of communications are there. If according to our question, it is about serial communication. In serial communication we will use start and stop bit. Why? Because actual answer is error detection. Why we are using start and stop bit for serial communication? Of course we know that while communicating we are transferring some data in the path. So to say that this is the starting of the communication, we can represent one bit either 0 or 1 depending on the system representation. And after communication ends, after transferring completion of that data, we will use another bit saying that this is the end of the communication. Why should, okay, we are using starting bit and stop bit. So here there are options: error detection, error correction, synchronization and slowing down the communication. Why we are saying it is for error detection is, please remember, in the computer network what actually error means. Of course in programming languages error means, for example, it may be a syntactic error or systematic error. For example, instead of using semicolon if you use colon, instead of using flower brace if you use brace, all these comes under error. But in computer network what actually error is, whatever the person is sending from the sender side, the data should reach the receiver side. Whether it is the right data or wrong data, whether the spelling is mistake or whether the format is mistake, extension is mistake, anything it may be. In computer network, error means whatever the data sent by the sender is same at the receiver or not. If any difference is there, then we can mention it as an error in the computer networks. So to detect, this is the starting of my communication and this is the stop of my communication. I mean in between these two bits my actual data is transferring in the network. So is there any error? If there is any error means, so all the data will be in the form of zeros and ones. If there is any error, we are using separate types of protocols to find what actually error means. Like in computer networks there are so many algorithms like checksum, CRC, different types of algorithms are there. Depending upon those algorithms we can find the error. But where the error is, we may communicate, we may send the messages or multiple messages from sender to the receiver. For example, I send 3 messages, serial communication 1, serial communication 2, serial communication 3. There may be the error in serial communication 2. How can I identify that one? Why? Because how means with the help of this starting and stop bits. For example, for serial communication 1, I am using starting bit as one representation, ending bit as another representation. In the serial communication 2, I am using different types of bits as starting and stopping, and serial communication 3, I am using different bits as starting and stopping depending upon the time clock pulse. So if there is any error found among these messages where actually error was there, this can be found, this can be detected with the start and stop bits, so that it will be very clear in which communication, in which path the error was represented. So to detect the error, we will use start and stop bit. Okay, so error correction is different. For example, if after detection the error may be corrected by using error correcting algorithms like a CRC checksum algorithms. And synchronization is nothing but it completely depends upon the clock pulse, how much clock pulse it took to transfer the data from sender to the receiver. So at what time they started and what time it received, it may be completely depend upon this synchronization will take part in a connection oriented data transmission. Just saying that by handshake methodology, both the sender and receiver will come into the communication and they will say, I am sending the message, I am ready to receive the message. After sending the message and after receiving the message, he will terminate, sending one acknowledgement saying that it's completely over. So synchronization part completely depends upon the connection oriented data transmission. So we will not discuss about start and stop bit in synchronization, and error correction algorithms are completely different. After detecting the error, an error can be detected in which message the error is there. It is completely detected by the start and stop bits only. Okay, so the actual answer why we use start and stop bits in the serial communication, to say my message is starting from here and my message is ending here. My second message starts from here, second message ends here, my third message starting here, my third message ending here. If there is any error occurred in any type, any message, either message 1 or 2 or message 3, with the help of the start and stop bits only, we can easily identify where the actual error is. To detect the error, we will use start and stop bits in computer networks. And next, coming for the second bit, repeaters function in. Repeaters function in actually which layer? So to know about this, first of all you should know that computer network is completely follows the layered technology. Either there are two reference model, one is OSI reference model, another one is TCP IP reference model. Either of the two reference models, they can use any type of model to transfer the data from one system to another system. While transferring the data from one system to another system, in computer network, while transferring the data from one system to another system, the data has to be sent by the sender at one end and receiver will receive at another end. So the data has to be transferred among the layers. If it is OSI reference model, it has to follow among 7 different layers like application layer, presentation layer, session layer, transport layer, network layer, data link layer and physical layer. So these 7 layers, each and every layer is responsible for different type of operation, different mode of operation. In such a way, we are using some network devices. Among the network devices, repeater is one. So there are so many different types of network devices like repeater. Different types of network devices are there. One second. Like a repeater, hub, switch, modem, all this comes under the network devices. So among them, repeater is one type of device. Why we will use repeater is, this is a network device which is used to strengthen the signal, I will give an example. For example, in your home there is a Wi-Fi modem, and from that modem you are receiving the signal to your mobile. Let us assume that mobile signal, internet signal is very good in room 1, and if you go to room 2, the signal is not that much of good. So we can follow one technique. Just switch on the hotspot in your mobile device and connect the another device from another room to this device. Then the signal will be strengthened. Why? Because device 1 is receiving the signal from the modem and it is acting as another device which will send the data, which will send the signal to the second device in the second room. In such a way, we are making the mobile device as a repeater. Generally, repeaters are used to strengthen the signal. So among the 7 different layers of computer network, physical layer is responsible only for raw transmission of bits like zeros and ones. So physical layer is not the answer for this thing. Okay, and next coming for the data link layer. Data link layer is the layer which will provide which is responsible for reliable data communication with the help of sublayer called MAC. with the help of sublayer called MAC. For that purpose, it will also follow the 3 different types of mechanisms like error control, flow control, framing, and everything. So what is this error control, flow control, and framing are? These are 3 different types of mechanism to transfer the data and to provide the reliability for the user, that what actual data you are sending, the same data as received to the receiver. In such a way, it is providing the reliability. How? With the help of error control, flow control, and framing. Error control will say that without any errors data get transmitted. Flow control is responsible to say that there may be the fastest sender and slowest receiver. The control, the flow should be controlled. The mechanism will follow by the data link layer only. And another thing is framing, very very important. What is in framing? Whatever the data it is receiving from its higher layer, that is network layer, it will receive in the form of packet. It will add source address and destination address, and then it will forward the data. So in such a way, here our repeater is helping us to increase the strength of the signal. So signal strength will be increased by using another device. So another device, whether whatever the device you are connecting to the network, so the device MAC address and the device IP address must be always make a communicator. It should be communicate with the sender and the receiver. So such communication, such all the things like data transmission, reliability of the data, everything is providing by the data link layer only. Whenever if you want to connect the repeater must be function at the data link layer only. So the right answer is data link layer. Why? Because data link layer is responsible for reliable data transmission. You are using repeater to strengthen the signal. Actually, you are using Wi-Fi modem in your home to receive any message or any message received through the internet. So that is having one IP address, and that will be easily located and easily identifiable. But by using the repeater, the second device is receiving the information from the first device. That is nothing but repeater. But actually, this repeater is not having any IP address and MAC address. But whenever you are using this device as a repeater, this device must make a communication with the main device. Whatever the IP address and MAC address it is using, both IP address and MAC address of this device must share with that Wi-Fi modem. Then only the data can be transferred from that modem to the repeater and from repeater to your device, right? So who is taking care about all this MAC address and IP address is data link layer. That's why repeater always works in data link layer. And whereas coming for the network layer, it is completely responsible for to route the packet. That is nothing but to route the packet from source to the destination in the form of a packets. So whatever the packet you are transferring, packet is nothing but whenever you are dividing the data into small chunks, we can call it as a packet. So whatever the data you are sending as a packet from source to the destination, in which path it has to be moved, everything will be decided by the network layer. So repeater does not work in the network layer. The answer is data link layer. And let us go for the next question. What are the primary characteristics that distinguish a cell from a packet? What are the primary characteristics that distinguish a cell from a packet? Cell is completely different when you compare with the packet. Actually, what is a packet? Just now we discussed that. If you want to send the data, that may be 1 MB or 10 KB or 100 KB. So the huge amount of data cannot transfer in the network. It has to be divided into small chunks, and we are calling those chunks as a packet. We are calling those small chunks as a packet. So the packet contains, whenever the packet is entering into the from network layer to the data link layer, it will convert into the frame, where frame contains source address and destination address, and this packet will be moved to the destination. But whereas cell, it is nothing but it will act as a flip-flop, and where it doesn't contain any address. Cell is nothing but it is a semiconductor cell which hold the data in the form of a electronic pulse, where it will hold the data, but it doesn't contain to which source address, from which to which destination address, from which source address. All these things will not be cared by the cell. So coming for the options, what is the right answer? Cells are generally smaller than packets. Because of cells are smaller than the packets is not the right answer. What? Because this is not the primary characteristic. The main characteristic is packet can hold both source and destination address, from which address it has to be come and to which address it is going. Whereas cell, it will store the data, but it will not depends upon the address. It doesn't contain any address. So the first option is cells are generally smaller than packet. Sometimes cell may be bigger than the packet. So this is not a right answer. It's completely depend upon the semiconductor cells used in the electronic device. And next, cells do not incorporate physical address. Yes, cells will hold the data in the form of electronic pulse, but it will not contain any physical address, where it has to send, from where it received. All these things are not maintaining by the cell. So this is the right answer. All cells have the same fixed 1 cm. This is also wrong answer. Why? Because cells are nothing but semiconductor cells. Depending upon the whether it is static memory or dynamic memory, depending upon the type of memory, the cell size will be vary. So it is not fixed. Packet cannot be switched. 100% wrong. Why? Because packet has to be switched from one position to another position. Then only it can choose whatever the route is best to reach the destination. So packet can be switched. Packet cannot be switched is a wrong answer. Our right answer is cells do not incorporate physical address. That is the right answer. Let us go for the next question. In context of TCP IP computer network model, which of the following is false? So as we discussed that computer network may be either of the two, it will follow either of the two reference model. One is OSI reference model, that is completely connection oriented data transmission, I mean physical communication. Another one is TCP IP reference model. In TCP IP reference model, we will use the protocols called TCP and UDP. TCP is transmission control protocol, UDP means user datagram protocol, but the reference model name is TCP IP, that is transmission control protocol internet protocol. With the help of the internet protocol only it will transfer the data. So without having the IP address we cannot send the data to any system from any other system. It's that's why it is naming as TCP IP. But in this protocol we will use two different types of protocols. One is TCP, another one is UDP. TCP means transmission control protocol, which is responsible for connection oriented data transmission. Means before sending the data, connection must be established between source and the sender. After connection get established, then only data will transfer, and after transmission of the data they will terminate the connection. Means here connection will establish first, data will transfer second. But if you use TCP protocol in TCP IP reference model, if you are using UDP protocol, user datagram protocol, it is a connectionless data transmission. Means once sender send the data without establishing any connection, there we can call that type of data packet as a datagram. So we cannot give the assurance that the data is transferring, whether it reached the receiver or not, all those things. I will give the best example. For example, if you are making a phone call or WhatsApp audio call or WhatsApp video call or making a phone call, it is nothing but connection establishment. First you are establishing the connection, then you are transferring the data either by audio or video, then you are releasing the connection. That is TCP protocol. UDP means sending a message, SMS. If you are sending any SMS through your phone, whether that message received to the user or not, it will not guarantee. Sometimes the message get failed if he is not in the coverage area. That is about UDP. Okay, so that is about TCP IP. It will provide both connection oriented data transmission and connectionless data transmission. But here the question is, in context of TCP IP computer network, which of the following is false? So let us go one by one. Besides span of geographical area, the major difference between LAN and WAN is the later uses switching element. No. In TCP IP protocol, we are not discussing about the network topology. LAN, WAN, MAN, all this comes under that shape of the network. You can use the TCP IP protocol in the wide area network itself, and you can transfer the data from one system to another system. So there is no case of LAN. If you are using LAN, it is nothing but a physical communication. In the physical communication, why you are using, no need to follow any OSI reference model or a TCP IP model. Just you can transfer the data, whatever the data you wants to transfer. So this is not. Actually in TCP IP we will not discuss about the network shape, that is nothing but network topology. So network topology comes under LAN, MAN, WAN. Okay, and next, a repeater is used just to forward bits from one network to another one. In TCP IP protocol, we are not talking about the network devices. Of course, repeater is used generally. What is the purpose of repeater? It will strengthen the signal. It will not simply send the data whatever the bits it received. So the statement itself, whether it is TCP IP or OSI, repeater statement itself is wrong. It will strengthen the signal and then it will forward the data. But here it is saying that a repeater used just to forward bits from one network to another network. This is wrong. From one network to another network, if you want to transfer the data, we will not use the repeater. We will use instead of using this repeater, we will use another network device like gateway. gateway or router. Okay. Next, IP layer is connected oriented layer in TCP IP. In TCP IP, IP layer is connection oriented. Of course, this is right answer. Why? Because we are using IP as a connection establishment layer if you are using TCP protocol. TCP protocol is used whenever connection get established. How the connection will get established? The IP address of the sender, IP address of the receiver, with the help of the MAC addresses, they will communicate both and they will establish connection. If you are using TCP protocol, after establishing the connection, data will transfer. If you are using the UDP protocol, without establishing the connection, they will transfer the data. Please listen, in the context of TCP IP, which one is correct statement is asking. IP layer is connected oriented layer in TCP IP. Yes, if you are using TCP protocol, the statement is right. If you are using UDP protocol, the statement is wrong. But they are not at all asking, they are not at all saying that whether you are using TCP protocol or UDP protocol. In the complete TCP IP reference model, whether IPs will get connected or not. Yes, if they are using TCP protocol, they will get connected. So this is right answer. And a gateway is used to connect incompatible networks. No. The purpose of gateway is if both the networks are not compatible with each other, whatever the algorithms using in this network is completely different in another side, that is the receiver side, then only we will go through the gateway. Otherwise, we will go through the router. Router is used whenever both compatible networks are getting connected. Even if it is compatible or incompatible or not compatible, then only we will use a gateway. So the statement itself is wrong. So the right answer is C. The answer for fourth one is C. And next, coming for the next question, IP address can be used in WAN. Which type of IP address can be used in WAN? Actually, there is some fixed measurements depending upon the subnet mask. So, if you are using any subnet mask, like 255.255.255. Like that, so there are three different types of networks are there. Among those three different types of networks, whenever if you want to connect your system, whenever you are connecting your system, your host system into the network, that is nothing but into the network, it is must and should to establish wide area network. So in the wide area network, it contains all the addresses like network address, host address. So host address may be there are three categories are there: category A, category B, and category C. In one type of category, the first three octets, if you divide them into four octets like 1, 2, 3 and 4 octets, the first two so each and everything is called as octet. Why? Because everything is 8-bit representation value. So 8, 8, 8, 8, right? Like that 32-bit representation as you are using IPv4 protocol. In IPv4 protocol, the header contains 32 bits. So 32 bits are divided into 4 octets. If the first octet, there are three different types of categories are there. If you are using first octet for network address and remaining 3 octets for system address, it comes under category A. If you are using first 2 octets for network address and next 2 for system address, it comes under category B. If you are using first 3 for network address and last octet for system address, that is nothing but host address, it comes under category C. Most probably we will use the category C only. IP address can be used in WAN. Mostly we will use category C only. Wide area networks are the networks which are used to establish the network in the internet for the systems which are located in any organization or the institution. So to find out which ISP provider is providing the network and for which network it contains, from which network they are getting the data, to divide all these things, we need 3 octets for network, and in the network they will give one IP address, and depending upon that IP address, whatever the system you want to connect to the network, you can give one number for that system, and we will use the last octet, that is nothing but category C. Category C type of systems are mostly used for WAN connection in the internet. So among these things, option D will comes under category C. Why? Because here we are using 127 bits, first octet for network address, first 3 octets for network address and last octet for system address. Whereas if you see in another options, all these are using as we are mentioning 0.0, this comes under category B. This comes under category A, this comes under category A. So option D is the right answer. Why? Because this is the only address representing that the 3 octets for network addressing and last octet for system address. Okay, and next, coming for the next question, dash transport layer protocol is used to support electronic mail. Dash transport layer, please remember here the question may be twisted. Generally, what type of protocol is used to transfer the mail? The general answer for that one is simple mail transfer protocol. SMTP protocol is used to transfer the data in the form of a mail. SMTP protocol is used to transfer the data in the form of a mail. But the question is, transport layer protocol is used to send the data. Which transport layer? I will give you one example. If you want to send any courier to your friend, if you are sending any greeting card, you will pack in a paper cover. If you want to send any electronic device, you will pack it between the thermocol and you will use some safety measures and then you can pack. So whether you are sending the greeting card or whether you are sending, for example, even you can take the example of Amazon or Flipkart, anything. If you order anything in Amazon or Flipkart or any online website, so whatever you may order, if you are ordering clothes, simply they will keep in the cover. If you are ordering electronic goods, they will follow some safety precautions. If you are ordering some electronic or electrical device which is very sensitive, ceramic items like that, they will take some more care. So all these, which type of material you are using to pack? For example, if you are using the material like plastic to clothes, that is one type of protocol. If you are using thermocol for safety precautions, that is another type of protocol. What type of packing you are doing, who should transport that thing? For example, for Flipkart, they are having one contract with the E-Cart. E-Cart are the transport provider, just they will transport, right? So whether it is the safety item, whether it is ceramic item or electronic item or clothes or anything it may be, it has to be done, it will be, the complete care should be taken while packing, not while transporting, right? So the transport will done by the transport office only. In such a way, email can be sent with the help of SMTP protocol only. SMTP protocol is used to transfer the data in the form of a mail. But at a transport layer, who will take this mail? Whether it is SMTP protocol mail, FTP protocol file, HTTP protocol audio or video, anything it may be. Whatever the thing it may be, it was packed and came to the transport office. Who should take care about that? Who should take care about this transport? TCP protocol has to take care about the transport. Transmission control protocol is the protocol which is used to transport the data from one system to another system. Okay, so the data is following, which type of data it is? If it is a file just for uploading, we will use FTP protocol. If you are sending the data in the form of a mail, it is SMTP protocol. If you are using any audio or video media to send, it is HTTP protocol. If it is like that, so protocols are different to transfer the type of data. But whatever the protocol used, but while transporting, which transport office has to be take care? TCP, transmission control protocol, will act as a transport office. It will transport the data. Okay, actually SNMP is used simple network management protocol. If there is any problem occur in the network, there may be 100 or 200 systems. 100 systems are there. If any system get damaged, the person no need to go and check over there. The manager no need to go and check over there. With the help of the SNMP protocol, he can find in which system the problem arises. Okay, and IP, this is internet protocol which is used to find which IP address will allocated for your system whenever host connected to the network. So the right answer is D, TCP. Next, coming for baud rate, measures the number of transmitted per second, whether it is symbols or bytes or bits. Generally we know about bit rate, right? So Mbps means megabits per second. Per second, how many bits it is transferring, whether it is 10 Mbps, 20 Mbps, 40 Mbps. But baud rate completely deals with bytes. Okay, so that is bits per second. And one more thing is 100 Mbps or else 50 Mbps is your bandwidth. But in particular time, now how many bytes are transferring? Not bits. How many bytes are transferring? Maybe the size is 100 bytes, but now the data is transferring only 50 bytes of data you are sending. So that comes under baud rate. But here They are not asking difference between bitrate or baud rate or throughput or output. They are asking baud rate completely deals with bits or bytes or symbols. It completely deals with byte. You have to be remember. You must remember this thing. Baud rate completely use bytes while transferring per second. Okay. So it not bits, none of this are not symbols. Okay. The symbols never transfers. Whenever if you are following cryptography, I mean that is nothing but encryption and decryption process, then only we will think about the symbols. Which character has to be transferred into which type of symbol. That comes under encryption process, that to be at the sender side or the receiver side, not in the path. Okay. So baud rate completely deals with bytes. Okay. And next coming for the next question. Identify the subnet mask for the given direct broadcast address of subnet 201.15.16.31. They already given some broadcast. So please remember, whenever we are talking about the subnet mask, it has to be start with 255.255.255. Means 3 255s. Why? Because each and every octet contains 8 bits. So the maximum value for 8 bits is 0 to 255, 256 actually values. So 0 to 255. So always last number, mostly we will take for category C type only, always last octet will decides. It completely deals with the system address, host address, but remaining 3 octets will deals with the network address. So whenever if anyone is asking the question about the mask, network mask, first you should decide in the options whether there are 3 255s are not there. So here only 2 255s are there, so that's why this is not right answer. So answer may be B or C or D, but the question is 201.15.16.31. So 16.31 must come. 16.31 must come. So here in the 255.255 means it completely saying that it is following category B. Means 3 network addresses and 1 is system address. It is also following category B. That is nothing but 3 network addresses and only 1 octet for system address. But here there are 2 different addresses are there. Means to differentiate from which subnet and which system is there. So among our options, wherever we are using 2 octets for subnetwork address and network and system address, that will be the right answer. So among these 4 options, this is the only option which is using last 2 octets for subnetwork address and system address. So the right answer is D. Wherever it is following, please see the question. In the question it is asking one subnetwork address and another one is system address. So among our network addresses, where it is having one subnetwork address as separate and one system address as separate, we can treat that one as our answer. Okay. So answer for this one is D. And is coming for the next question. Which protocol finds MAC address from IP address? MAC address from IP address. First of all, we should know what actually MAC address and IP address. MAC is medium access control. IP means internet protocol address. Whenever any system get connected in the internet, the network segment will give the IP address for the system. For example, if your system is not having internet, your system doesn't contain any IP address. If your system is connected to the internet, immediately network segment will give the IP address dynamically for you. If you restart your system, again IP address will change. So IP address is not static and it is not permanent, it keep on changing. But whenever any system wants to send the data from one system to another system, the system must to know the IP address and MAC address of the receiver system. For example, what actually MAC address? MAC address is the address of the computer, of the host, of the system. Any system, even if you take your mobile and if you check for about the device, it contains MAC address. That is permanent address for your device. It is located, it is embedded on the network interface card on your system. Whenever your device wants to connect to the network, whether it is local area network or whether you are connecting to the Wi-Fi or whether you are connecting to the internet, this MAC address is the identifiable address of your system. This is permanent, like your house number, flat number are permanent, no? Like this, MAC address is permanent. And IP address is the address which will allocated by the network segment whenever your MAC address the system connected to the internet. If you are connecting your system to the internet, immediately it will get the IP address, right? So for your system, you are having one IP address in the network. For other all the systems which are connected in the network having separate IP addresses. So whenever system A wants to send the data to the system B, system A is having one MAC address and IP address. System B also having one MAC address and IP address. But without knowing the MAC address, system A cannot send the data to the system B. For this purpose, system A, with the help of the IP address, it will ask the network, I want to send the data for the system B, but I don't know the system B address, but I know the IP address of the system B. What is the IP address? All the IP addresses are allocated by the network segment to all the system. So network segment knows system A IP address, system B IP address, system C IP address, like that all the system IP addresses are there in the network segment. Whenever system A wants to send the data to the system B, with the help of the system A, with the help of the IP address, it will send one broadcast message to the network segment. That is, the system which is having IP address of X and X and X and X, so and so, I want to know the MAC address of that system so that I can send the data. Then whoever having that IP address in the network, that system will raise a hand and say, this IP address is mine and my MAC address is this one. For example, in the classroom, I want to talk something about one student. I don't know his name, but I know his roll number. In the classroom, I will ask, who is roll number 53? Immediately, one student will raise their hand and they say, I am 53. Whatever the message, whatever the information I am passing, who is roll number 53? This is broadcast message, means all the students will listen. But who will respond? Whose actual roll number is 53, only that student will raise their hand, right? All are listening the message, but they will ignore because they are not 53. But who is having the IP address, who is having the roll number as 53, they will say, sir, my roll number is 53 and my name is so and so. Did you understand what I am saying? In the same way, in the network segment, whenever sender A wants to send the data to any sender B, it will ask, I know the IP address, but I don't know the MAC address of that system. Like that, it will send one broadcast message. That broadcast message will receive by all the systems, and whoever having that IP address, that system will say that this is me and my MAC address is this thing. Like that, it will share its MAC address along with IP address to the system A. Then system A can send the data to this system B. For this purpose, we will use a separate protocol called Address Resolution Protocol. So the answer is ARP. Address Resolution Protocol, ARP. Address Resolution Protocol is used to identify the MAC address of the system. Okay, if you know the IP address and if you want to know the MAC address, we will use the ARP protocol. And if you know the MAC address but you don't know the IP address, that is reverse process. So in such cases, we will use RARP, reverse ARP. Okay, reverse address resolution protocol. SMIP and ICMP are different. ICMP is used to find the error messages whenever data transfer from one system to another system. If there is any error, then ICMP will identify that error and it will give the error message to the system. So ICMP is not the right answer. And let us go for the next question. Bluetooth is an example of. Actually, we are having different types of networks like personal area network, local area network, medium metropolitan area network, and wide area network. Wide area network is a network which is used to connect the systems, to connect one system in one network to the system in another network, network of networks. That is nothing but internet. In the internetworking area, if you want to establish a connection between network of networks, we will use wide area network. Metropolitan area network is nothing but, the best example is disconnection, like that. In earlier days, there was disconnection, telephone communication, landline. For example, 040 and the phone number will start. Means 040 will say that this is Hyderabad code. 022, it will say that this is 011 Delhi code, 022 Mumbai code, 033 Calcutta code, 044 Chennai code. Like that, each and every code continuously contains the phone number. So these all comes under metropolitan area network. So 044 means it's Chennai, 011 means it's Delhi, 022 means it's our Mumbai, 033 means Calcutta. So like that, it is fixed. So only for that particular area, if you want to make a call in Maharashtra itself, in Mumbai itself, instead of entering the STD code, you can make a call, right? Why? Because all the numbers can communicate under the same code. So that comes under metropolitan area network. And local area network is the network. It is a small network where within a room or within an organization, within an institution, if you want to connect number of devices like 128 devices or 100 devices, we will use the local area network. And personal area network is such a network where it occupies very low area and where we will use that network for our personal purpose. For example, monitor, keyboard, CPU, mouse, all are connected. This is personal area network. With the help of this network, we can use for our personal purpose. In the small area, with the help of the mouse, we can interact with the system. With the help of the keyboard, we can enter the data like that. So such a small network is called as personal area network. And Bluetooth is an example for. With the help of the Bluetooth, we can connect devices for our personal purpose, that to be in very small area, not very long area, right? So Bluetooth is the best example for personal area network. Okay, Bluetooth is an example for even we are connecting Bluetooth mouse, Bluetooth keyboard, Bluetooth camera for our personal purpose in the small area. That's why Bluetooth is an example for personal area network. Okay, next coming for in context of TCP IP computer network models, which of the following is false? This is already we discussed. So we are not at all discussing about LAN and WAN in the TCP IP computer network model. Why? Because it completely depends upon the topology, network shape. A repeater is used to forward bits from one network to another network is wrong answer. Why? Because repeater is used to strengthen the signal, not only to transfer the bits. Okay, there is another devices like hub and all those things. IP layer is connected oriented in TCP IP, option C, and a gateway is used to connect the incompatible networks. IP layer is connected oriented layer in TCP IP. Generally, IP layer is connected oriented in TCP IP whenever you are using TCP protocol. Whenever you are using UDP protocol, it is not connection oriented. But please see the question, which one is true or which one is false. Here we are not. Here they are not saying that we are transferring the data in the connectionless service or connection oriented service, right? So if we, let us assume that they are transferring the data in the form of connection oriented. So in connection oriented data transmission, IP layer is connection oriented in TCP IP. If it is in UDP, connectionless, but here they are not mentioning which type of transmission it is doing. Here they are saying IP layer is connected oriented in TCP IP S for transmission control, for connection oriented data transmission. That extension answer is. And gateway is used to connect incompatible networks. Not only this is not right, of course this is true. Why? Because gateway is used for incompatible network. IP layer is connected oriented layer in TCP IP. Generally IP layer, I mean here right answer means false. Please listen, which statement is false among here? Here the right answer means false, means it is wrong. For example, besides span of geographical area, the other major difference between LAN, WAN is the later user switches element. Here we are not talking about topologies. In network topology, LAN is different, WAN is different, completely depends upon geographical area. A gateway is used to connect incompatible networks. For example, one network is following one group of protocols, another network is following another group of protocols. For incompatible protocols, we will use the gateway. If the same it is there, then we will go through the router. For example, if here they are written as router, this is wrong answer, and here it will be the right. So here IP layer is connected oriented layer in TCP IP. We cannot say IP layer is connected oriented in TCP IP. Why? Because if it is following TCP protocol or connection oriented protocol, it is connection oriented. If it is following UDP protocol, it is connectionless connectionless data transmission. That's why, as they are not mentioned anything here, it is false and here it is right answer. It is false and here it is right answer. Okay, and next coming for the next question. A packet switch network, a packet switching network. Generally, packet switching network is used to transfer the data in the form of a packets. In the form of a packets. So, in the huge amount of data will divide into small chunks of data, and we are calling each and every data small chunk as a packet. Actually, why this will use is not because it is free, not because it is free. Actually it can reduce the cost of using information utility. Why it will reduce the cost is because the packet will transfer from one mode to another mode, one route to another route, depending upon the traffic and routing algorithm. So with the help of that thing, it will reduce the cost and allows communication channel to be shared among more than one user. More than one user we can share the communication channel. Why? Because not only single user can utilize the packet. I will give you an example. In the Bluetooth, we are transferring the data for multiple devices at a time. In the WhatsApp, we are transferring the data to the multiple users at a time, because they are following packet switching. We are dividing the data into the small data chunks, and we are calling those data chunks as a packet. By keeping the destination address, we can send the packet to multiple addresses at a time. So this is the right answer. And of course, because of this, it will reduce the cost also. Why? Because no need to send, receive like that. We can send at a time to multiple devices. So both B and C are correct. So the answer is D. Okay. So this is about some number of questions regarding computer networks. I hope you people understood what I said, and please remember, the questions may be sometime typical, sometime it may be typical. The best example is this question only. See which one is false they are asking. I am saying this is wrong, this means they are true. This is right means this is wrong, actually this is false. So false statement to be identified. While if you know the subject very well, what we will think is, whatever the statements are right, we should correct them, we should put the tick mark, and whatever the statements you don't know, please keep them aside and clarify with other options. Then only easily you can identify the answer for the question. Please remember what the question is, whether they are asking it is true, which is true statement or which is false statement. If the same question asks, which is the true statement among the following, all three is true except this one, right? So please remember while answering, and please don't get confusion. So this is about our computer network previous question paper answers. That's it. Bye.